Welcome to a new market update, and today we're going to discuss why Bitcoin is so confusing, in which it is bouncing upwards, correcting all the way again, taking the liquidity beneath the lows and bouncing back up. So that's what we're going to discuss today. But before we're going to continue, make sure to subscribe beneath, like this YouTube update, and check out my Twitter and Instagram, where you can find the latest information about the markets and about my vision on the markets. And when we're talking about grinding and building a company, that's what we're going to do in the coming 8 weeks. I've just been traveling for a month, and we've had some nice new connections in the markets. And now it's time to build a company, as we want to move places, we want to build a YouTube studio, we want to increase our staff, as we want to build our investment firm and consultancy, but also complete our platform and upgrade that towards the next level. So if you're looking for a job in the cryptocurrency space and you're based around Amsterdam, check out the website in the description beneath, where you can find all the people that we are looking for, all the jobs that we're currently looking or hiring people for. So if you want to actually go for that dream and just live potentially a free life, or have a job combined with your passion, that is probably the way you go to, or the website you go to. And maybe we can see you at the office at the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Also, if you want to become a member of our platform, it is in the link beneath, which is decreased in prices for $99 a month. If it's lower, if you take a longer membership, you get my portfolios. We even are going to release some more portfolios too. And you can get trade IDs, educational content, live sessions, AMAs, and a beautiful community where you can improve as a trader. If you don't have that $99 a month, €50 a month newsletter 3 times a week, latest intel on the markets. As you can see, the color in the back is orange today. It is a national holiday, King's Day, which is celebrating the birthday of the king. While the king doesn't really have any influence in the in the world anymore, or in the country itself. But it's funny. There's I'm living close to the Amstel, which is in Amsterdam. So there's tons of tourists all over the country coming towards Amsterdam to be on a boat, drink beer all day. It's not even the sun is not even shining at this point, and then go home drunk to work more tomorrow again. I'm not doing that. I'm actually building or working today, as I've just been traveling for a month. When we're looking at the markets are trappy. And there's a few conclusions that we can draw, which we have also been discussing previously. First of all, Bitcoin is trappy. It's in a narrow range, and because it's in a narrow range, it's moving around with those fast drops and bounces. So it makes a vertical bounce up. No real blocks in between, where you can see some period of sideways action in which buyers and sellers are in a conclusion of where the price can be for some period of time. And because of the fact that it's making such a vertical move, it is a break of structure, and if it starts to draw back or it starts to correct, it can easily nosedive all the way back again. And what you see then is that it's dropping further than the previous low to take the liquidity there, and then it gets enough information to actually, or enough liquidity to bounce back up again. We're going to cover that in the TA section. But also, if you're looking at the market structure, most of the altcoins are still down 80 to 90%, except for a few play to earn or watch to earn or run to earn coins, and maybe a few NFTs as well. So the NFTs are still flipping, and when we're talking about NFTs, Ape is also still doing quite well. Those are exceptional coins at this point, but the majority are not showing too much strength because everything is correlated to Bitcoin at this stage. So when we're looking at the price action, I think Bitcoin has to make a conclusion. And Bitcoin is not making a conclusion at this point, because the dollar is showing strength and because the rates are still going up. And I don't mean the hikes. Yes, people are feeling unstable or insecure about the fact that the hikes are going to happen, but the yields have been going up heavily previously. And why is that important? Well, if the dollar is showing more strength, people are flying towards the dollar out of safety, which is always the reason why people do X or Y. And they are into the dollar at this point, but because of the strength, because of the yields going up a little bit more, the returns institutionals can make with a risk-free based asset, which is the dollar, is going up. So because of the yields going upwards, there's no purpose for them to have many risk on assets. They they increase their dollar portion in their portfolio because they can get that return of like 3% a year, depending on how long they take their bonds. And because of the yields going up even more, that's not really suiting the nature of Bitcoin or risk on assets. And we still have to classify Bitcoin as a risk on asset. That is going to change at some point in time when there's more uncertainty about the dollar, when the yields are going up even more because of that uncertainty, and when people simply start to lose their trust in the government. And that's the actual reason why people fly into crypto, because they want to become financially free, but ultimately they actually are in fear of their own future, their financial future, and that's why they fly towards cryptos. That is currently the case with the markets. When we're looking at Bitcoin higher time frame, it's still pretty fine that we're only down 40 to 50% from the all-time high, while the dollar is showing this strength. But we're going to discuss the important levels that we should be looking at with Bitcoin, and we're going to focus what we just discussed with what is actually happening in the past few days and what should we be looking at if we want to have some upwards potential at this point. Also, if you want to see some content on this YouTube channel, comment beneath with the topics that you want to see addressed. We're going to shift way more towards trading and investing, but if you want to see some special content, not really request, but just topics, comment beneath, and then we can integrate that in our YouTube channel. Let's head towards the charts. I've been making a tweet earlier today in which I've been claiming the following, that the price action of Bitcoin at this stage looks a lot like the previous reaccumulation phases, and especially if you're combining the current accumulation or sideways period, and it's getting quite long as it's in 4 months already. If we combine that fact with the current on-chain analysis, which is providing confirmation of ATLs, or at least extreme figures, which we can usually see at bottoming procedures, it is very likely that the next upward or next move is going to be an upwards move, especially since I believe that the DXY or the dollar is going to top out at some point in time, or at least relatively soon, especially when the news about the Fed is kicking in. It's most likely going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news thing, in which we're going to reverse with the dollar as it starts to overshoot to the upside. So this period of sideways price action for the dollar or for Bitcoin in itself isn't really that bad. It's looking like we are just accumulating at this phase. The question is going to be, where are we going to find a bottom when it comes to the Bitcoin at this point? So when we're looking at the higher time frames, there's not much that we actually have to change from the previous view. We've got this block here, which we rejected on. So the block that we have to focus on is the same one when we get upwards. However, previously we also rejected at this block, right? So we started to reject there. We got a harsh corrective move in the previous days, resulting into a test of the lows, as currently we are finding support at this low, which is a tricky one, as we still have to figure out whether that's going to be the low at this stage. And I think that if we lose this level for support, I think it could be nosediving, as we are going to trigger the liquidity beneath the lows, and then we might be testing some lower levels, in which ultimately, if the markets are really ready to nuke, I'm looking at 30k as the ultimate bottom for the markets. When we're looking at the price action in itself, I still think that 37k is also an important one. And beneath there, it's actually just done at this point. I think that the first block we've given us a reaction at this point. Right now we're just consolidating, and I think that if we break 42k, that is the ultimate trigger to run ourselves all the way towards 50k first and approximately 57 next. When we're looking at the lower time frames, we can conclude a few things. First of all, we can conclude the fact that we are making a bullish divergence and have seen some runners here. So we have been seeing some runs in which we have been testing previous level at 42.6. The block here rejected, downwards move. Block here rejected, downwards move. Block here rejected too, and we can see a downwards move. And right now we are actually rejecting at the area that we have to crack if we want to see some serious momentum. That is the entire level around 39.3k. That has to flip for support, and that could be a trigger for longs overall. So what should we be looking at if we want to have upwards potential? Well, Very simple. The DXY has to reverse, which we get to in a little bit. And then second, we have to crack 39k and flip this level, the range low again. And then we could be triggering or taking this high and start focusing on the liquidity above 42.6 and potentially get towards 44. That is the ultimate trigger. If we start losing this one, I think that we are seeking for short opportunities in which the bearish flips could be the area where you should be taking those shorts until we get a higher time frame bullish divergence or clear confirmation of a bottom in which sweep beneath 37k would be still one. So these are the two scenarios that I'm looking at this stage. I'm not really interested into longs at this point, especially since our dearest friend the DXY is absolutely mooning at this point, as we can see. However, when it comes to the DXY, there's a few important levels that we should be watching. And as you know, I'm talking a lot about the liquidity stuff. Here is a high, here's another one. So we have to mark these two, in which 103.77 and this level at 103 is probably going to be the zone above there, which is the important one to watch. In that case, I mean that most likely Bitcoin is still going to have a sideways period, but if we sweep the low and reclaim 37k, or if we break 39.3k and the DXY get towards that region in which we probably are going to top out relatively soon, and starts to reverse as we are taking liquidity above the high here, I think that Bitcoin is going to find a serious run, right? So if the DXY is finding itself a top, which is most likely going to be above those highs and taking the liquidity there, I think you want to be long on the Bitcoin. I think you also want to be long on indices, which are still dropping down right now, probably going to take the lows here, or probably going to take the liquidity there, finding itself a support relatively soon here, taking liquidities there too, and then we start to reverse. I think that the fact of Bitcoin running up is getting really close, especially since the DXY is getting there so fast. So I think that is the case at this point. That is my view on the markets as well. Tomorrow I'll be back with a new one based on the price action of Bitcoin. During the weekend I'll be making on-chain analysis and an update on a fundamental project that I really like. Make sure to subscribe beneath, and I'll see you again soon. Comment beneath if you want to see some special topics. Don't do stupid shit, and always keep on smiling. I'll see you again tomorrow.